Getting paper on these player haters, old news, money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another edition of I'm Not Gonna Hold You, man. It is your guy, Scott. It is Friday, October 20th, 2023. We are live here from sunny Los Angeles, California, man, getting y'all ready for another edition. Y'all know to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Barberchair Scott. Follow the Barberchair Network at BarberchairNet on Twitter and Instagram, man. Subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/Barberchair Network. We're going to have some real exciting news, regarding the Patreon. So look out for that on Monday. We've got an announcement on that. Things is going to be happening for that. So stay tuned for that, man. I've got Mikey and Dante. They'll be joining me shortly. The homie Damien will be joining us in a minute too. We'll talk about a little WNBA. We've also got the homie Russ Dorsey from Apple TV's Friday Night Baseball. He will join us in the local hours. We'll be talking about everything going on with the ALCS, the NLCS, the future of Chicago baseball, and all that good shit, man. So let's get right into my sound off to start this show off, man. I wanted to start off by saying that, everybody needs to let go of the Aaron Rodgers is coming back thing. I understand that he is making probably a lot better progress than a lot of people who have been dealing with this sort of injury. He's already walking a little better. He's, not using a cane as much as he used to. And I know he's been throwing the football and getting people excited and shit like that. I'm not saying this is a guy who hates Aaron Rodgers. I'm saying this is somebody who's a fucking realist. The motherfucker's not coming back this year. We either let that shit go. I'm not falling for the little football throws across the field. All that's for show. I'm pretty sure when he gets back into the locker room, that motherfucker is still on fire. He's still very much hurt. So I understand that the Jets are playing better right now. The defense has been playing better. Zach Wilson has been doing things that's at least keeping them in the game and not losing the game for them. But let's pump the brakes on any and all Aaron Rodgers comeback talks. It's an Achilles. I think at the absolute best case scenario will be 6 months that he'd be out. That's definitely not going to happen before the playoffs, man. So give that shit a rest. So that is my sound off on Aaron Rodgers. It's a wrap, dog. It's not going to happen this year. So you're just going to have to count that up. So I'm going to bring the guys in, man. Mikey and Dante, as we start this episode, man. What's going on with y'all?
Chilling, bro. And just to your point, like, he tore his ACL. He didn't have fucking Tommy John surgery. Like, him throwing the football should not be exciting to anybody right now. So, like,
he tore his Achilles. Not the ACL would make more sense.
That's right, my bad. Yeah, he tore his Achilles. Like, he didn't have Tommy John surgery. Like, him throwing the football is not breaking news, bro. So, yeah, but you know how that guy does.
I just find it funny you waited till Courtney was off today to talk that Jet shit. I find it really funny.
Yeah, we can only talk about Courtney's Jets when she's not here. One thing, we got a new segment we're going to be debuting next Friday on this glorious show. So I have a cousin of mine who I love dearly. He's a family member, obviously. This nigga, he has a lot of ridiculous takes, to say the least. But I thought, what better than to have him come on here every Friday and just say those ridiculous takes on there and we argue with him, man. So for anybody who is aware of this, my cousin Dan will be joining us each and every Friday for about 5 to 10 minutes as he tells us all the ridiculous shit that's on his mind. And we're going to actually combat him with a little thing called logic and actual sports knowledge. So it's going to be very interesting every Friday. Cousin Dan segment. Look out for that next week. So that's going to be very entertaining to have for everybody to be into, man. So let's just get into our first topic, man. As soon as we get Damien's camera right, man, we gonna bring him in so we can talk about the first segment of the show, which is that the Las Vegas Aces are repeat WNBA champions. And here he is. Damien, can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear y'all.
Okay, you are in traffic doing something. But anyway, the Vegas Aces won back-to-back couple nights ago, man. So I thought it was only right to bring you in here. You are a resident WNBA expert. Tell us what you feel about this, accomplishment for them, and everything that happened with this season, which I feel got a lot more play than usual as far as publicity.
All right, first off, I had to pull off the freeway, and I'm in a neighborhood with a lot of niggas with face tats, so I ain't gonna be on here for too long. The Aces, they did what they were supposed to do. Everyone made the big deal about them getting Candace Parker, but she played half the season. The majority of the season was spent with the core players that they had last year, and one, they were first in offense of all time for the league. They were number one defensive team. They got who I thought obviously should have been the MVP, A'ja Wilson. They got the repeat defensive player of the year, A'ja Wilson. They had the sixth woman of the year. I mean, the team was stacked, but the team is more like how the Warriors were built. They had a lot of number one picks because they were trash for like 8 seasons in a row, just like how the Astros did back in the day. And, their chemistry is what I think put them over the top over New York. They played together for about 4 or 5 seasons. And if you see them on social media, that they really fuck with each other. So I think that's what put them over the top in this last game. And they're going to go down as one of the greatest WNBA teams ever.
And this is the first repeat in WNBA in like 22 years. And the last team was the LA Sparks. Lisa Leslie and all them might be there. Now, as somebody who doesn't pay too much attention to the league, I would say I kind of knew what was going on, just because I feel like there was more PR. I feel like it was better marketing, especially with the new deal they got with ESPN. So it's like it wasn't one of those, oh damn, the playoffs start tomorrow. Like, no, the way that ESPN, I believe, marketed it was better than before. And you even saw like the crowds. These look like regular NBA crowds, especially in the finals. Do you think that this is going in the right direction? Was there anything that you feel like needs to be changed so they can kind of like build off the momentum that they've got this year?
Well, definitely. I think this finals added to the NCAA finals with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese spilling over to the WNBA. I think that's boosting women's basketball up to like levels we haven't seen before. And it was kind of like the same dynamic. You had the Liberty with their white height with Sabrina mid-ass, Stewie. They had 2 former MVPs on the team. They were supposed to go against the Aces. Like this rivalry has been hyped up since the season started, since New York put their team together, going against the Aces with A'ja and Chelsea and Kelsey and, like I said, Candace. So I think this year in women's basketball is like gonna shoot it up to like levels we definitely haven't ever seen before. The Suns owner just is in the process of building like $100 million facility for the Mercury, which is something you've never seen, because y'all know, like, as much disrespect the WNBA gets, like, we've had jokes where we could put our money together and buy a squad, but I think now, like, that's out of the realm, and I think the WNBA is in a good spot right now for the future.
Definitely. One last thing before we get you out, because I know we don't want to keep on the road too long. We don't know what area of California.
Yeah, nigga, it's hot. It's hot.
Hey, hold on. First off, I wish I would have known this shit. I wish you would have shot me a text, a DM before I put them 3 for 17 sorry ass Breonna Stewart in my parlay. That was the last leg. That was the last leg. So I don't, like I tried to stay away from betting on WNBA for, like, logical reasons. But I was sitting there in the kitchen and I'm like, all right, 6.5 spread. I see Chelsea Gray was out. I was like, okay, they're gonna force, they'll take it to a deciding game. Let me tell you, I'm sitting here on this couch and I'm listening to Brondello draw up that fucking play, and I'm like, she got no fucking clue. I'm like, this shit's not gonna work. And I'm sitting there, and all my guys are like, "Are you really watching this shit?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got." It was the last leg. I would show everybody a ticket. I would have won 2,300. And when Vandersloot, like they dared Vandersloot to shoot that three, I was like, you know what? I'm done. They'll never see my money again.
Yeah, I was watching I was reading the timeline like when the game was going on, and then I was like, let me watch these last couple of minutes, man. And you could definitely tell like first of all, I like just how much disrespect you can see like going from the teams. Like there was a lot of shit talking going on.
That shit coming from Damien. That shit coming mostly from Damien.
Yeah. There was a lot of people, trying to, have sides between the Aces and the Liberty. And I thought that was, pretty cool to see. Now, I think we lost Damien because, I don't know what's going on the side of that road. But
yeah. He got out of there quick.
Yeah,
they got his shit on crates right now. They got his shit on crates.
I think he's
coming back.
I think he got to come up. Yeah. I think he's back.
Yeah,
okay.
But nah, bro, I agree, G. And like for me this season, because I'm not gonna lie, 2 seasons ago, somebody she unfollowed me. I must have said something crazy, but she gifted me the WNBA season pass because they're only like a dub, and so I've been watching a lot more in this season than auto renewed, and so I have really been enjoying it this year. And like Damien said, the league is growing, bro, and it's really getting to a point now where as we're starting to see more and more young athletic women coming into the league, and I think it's going to really change the game. And one of my favorite players to watch was really Shorty, and I know Damien knows her name, Shorty from the Dallas Wings. I don't want to mispronounce her name, but she's a shooting guard, but she goes crazy, and so you're starting to see more players like that in the league.
Oh,
Enrique, yeah, she's a problem, bro. And so it's really great for the league. You're starting to see, like you said, more of them getting their own facilities. I know the Aces had a new facility that's dope, and so it's really, really getting good. Now they're about to expand into the Bay, and the Lacombe family. We know how much bread they got, so they're gonna put top-notch facilities up for their squad, and so it's really gonna be a lot. So I'm interested to see.
Did you say the Lacombe family?
I said it's Lacombe, right? Or Lakem?
It's
Which one is
Lakem. See, he pulled him in. He
pulled you.
He pulled him in.
Hey, I was gonna let him slide.
I was flowing. My bad, my nigga. My bad. But no, we know they're gonna put top-notch facilities around their team. So it's only a matter of time, as they continue to expand. And I know that's one thing, Damien, you mentioned that a lot, because one thing we see a lot with the WNBA is you see a lot of first-round draft picks who get cut. And then now they overseas, and now they they don't have a team to play on. And so as you start to get more roster spots, I think you'll start to get a better quality basketball, and it's going to continue to grow. And it's already quality. Not saying it's not, but it's just going to continue to get better. And another thing is a lot of the young shorties you see on YouTube and everything like that doing drop steps and dunking, like it's only getting better, G. So it was a great season. Shout out to Asia, bro.
One quick question for Damien before we get him out of here. Three-peat? Are they three-peat? I think that's a natural question to ask.
I'm gonna go with because they're not losing anybody, and they have money to sign a max player if they want to. I don't think they should. I think they should bolster up their bench because the starters play like 35, 37 minutes a game. Like last season, I think Asia went like 4 games in the playoffs playing the entire shit. But like the good thing for her is she doesn't play overseas, so she can relax in the summertime. My phone getting hot as shit, and this shit might fuck up.
Well,
but,
we gonna get you out of here, though.
Yeah, and real quick, just a reminder that a girl named Kayla George outscored 2 former MVPs, Breanna Stewart and John Claude Jones, and she's like a 35-year-old rookie.
35-year-old rookie is nuts.
Yeah, so they wasn't built for it. But I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna listen to it. Like, thanks for having me on.
All right, bro.
At like 105.
All right, bro. Thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, all right, y'all. No doubt.
All right, yo. That is the homie Damien. Of course, if anybody listen to any of the OG what's called Summer Sessions episodes, you know who the homie is, man. Let's get into our next topic, man. We're actually going to talk about, before we get to that, by the way, next week is NBA week on this show. We will actually be talking basketball. We've got the homie Pavi will be coming on Monday. We're going to preview the NBA season. And I've got my homie, my dog, Big Waz from, the Athletic, from the Ringer. He's going to be on next Friday as we'll talk about the first couple nights in the NBA so far. It's always good to have my dog on there. So a lot of NBA talk next week in general. So let's get into that. But first, we're gonna talk about some college. Yes, NCAA Scott era has begun.
It's terrible.
I have finally arrived here. I've been watching a lot of college football over the last, really since the season, since the first Colorado TCU game. I was like, no, I'm gonna start watching other shit too. So I am not as knowledgeable as probably my two co-hosts here, but I'm getting there. As far as where I think I should be. As far as knowing who I need to be knowing about. But we're going to talk about the three main quarterbacks that's being talked about right now, man. Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Michael Penix Jr. And by the way, Desmond Howard is still and probably got to be in the Paul's chamber for the what he said on College Game Day last week.
He needs to be arrested.
Yeah, he needs to be arrested.
He was really tweaking with that.
He was tripping on that, man. But I think, all three of us, we have invested interest in this because we're Bears fans. And
don't say that. Don't say that. Don't you do it. Don't you do it.
We're Bears fans.
I told you.
We're Bears fans.
The two of you have interest.
No, you have interest too. Dante doing that thing where he act like he don't care.
Your ass got Desmond Ridder. Chill. You got a little too much dip on your chip right now. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Remember where you from.
Don't get it twisted, G. I will never be a Falcons fan, but right now, like I told y'all, bro, I'm checked out. Like they in the same box as all the Jerry Reinsdorf teams. Like until I see it, I'm not finna sit here and look at no scouting reports. I don't care what quarterback they get. They gonna fuck it up. Like until you show me otherwise, until we get a coaching staff in here that we know can develop a quarterback, until we see some things change, bro, y'all got it.
I mean, it's hard to argue against that. I mean, we've been seeing this for our entire lives. I'm gonna be, I'm 34. Scott, your birthday coming up. Dante, you coming up. We all pretty much the same age, and they are gonna fuck it up. I mean, but I am interested because I think right now where we stand and going into week 7, I think the tea leaves are starting to fall that. The Bears are going to lean heavily on possibly taking a quarterback with one of those two picks. It might not be the first pick, might not be the second pick. We got to see where everything falls at the end of the day. But I'm definitely, watching those three. I think right now, Michael Penix Jr. is in the lead for the Heisman. Caleb Williams was trying to be only the second player ever to repeat as back-to-back Heisman Award winners, and Michael Penix Jr. is making a name for himself. Drake May is looking really good out in the ACC. I believe UNC is 6-0 or 7-0. So they're going to be all three of them will be playing in big games. I mean, tomorrow we got a back-to-back big games for USC. They stunk it up against Notre Dame, and now they come back and they have a conference game with Utah, where USC is favored by a touchdown, but Utah can present some problems. So it's fucked up, but this is where I'm at. My attention has shifted to Saturdays, and it's waned off from Sundays.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, of course, we all know the Brad Biggs report. And we'll get more into that, during the local hour. But the Brad Biggs report came out today about, the Bears are going to be looking for quarterback if they do get the number 1 pick, which I think you can pretty much put 2 and 2 together. Now, I have been I got sources who told me that pump the brakes on that. That's not 100% what was going on with that article. I'm not going to say more than what I can say, but let's just say that, not to say that the Biggs is wrong in his reporting. Biggs is very, very factual in his reporting. There's anything I give Biggs, he doesn't write bullshit. There's one thing we said about Biggs. He's very great at his job. He knows what he does. But I was just also told that it's not like set in stone that they're 100% moving away from Justin Fields. But I think if you're looking at, these 3 quarterbacks here, man, I think the number one thing, I got to give credit to Mikey. I got to give credit to my homie Sean. When we think about Drake May, you think about a North Carolina quarterback, what's the first thing that comes to your mind if you're a Bears fan? Mitchell David Trubisky. And I was just instantly like, I'm not dealing with this white quarterback from basketball school. But then I went and did a little more research, and I will be watching him going forward for the rest of the season. This dude is not Mitch Trubisky. He's a very accurate passer. He's taller than Mitch. He has a great deep ball, pause. And he looks like he has more control of the offense. And of course, like, remember, Mitch wasn't starting when he was first got to North Carolina. Drake May is. This team is winning because of him, not because of other things. I feel like that's something to look at from here on out. Michael Penix Jr. had a great game last week in a very competitive game against Oregon. I'm going to be watching him for the rest of the season. Like you said, Mike, he's probably like the leading candidate for Heisman. But, you know, as much shit as we talk, but I feel like Caleb Williams is under the spotlight, and rightfully so, with all of the hype that's around him, all the different with media coverage. And I'm not going to get off. I'm not going to, cancel the kid because of, he had a bad, outing on last Saturday. But I will be paying attention to the rest of the games. That's a very tough schedule. USC got a very tough schedule. So not only is Caleb fighting, to continue to have his draft stock look good, but also his team is fighting to still make it into the playoff, to get them a game. So I feel like that's going to be something to watch for the next couple weeks. And so it's fucked up as Bears fans that we already here on week 7, but I do feel like it's more than just a Caleb Williams race right now.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that from the standpoint of the quarterbacks. When you look at everything, all things standing, Drake May is, as like you said, as Bears fans, the first thing you see when you see number 10 for North Carolina is Mitchell Trubisky. But when you hear about his background, being from an athletic family, just the way he prepares, everything he's done up to this point, and the success, like you say, he's 6'5". He's mobile. He can move around the pocket. He has a rocket arm. So he has everything you would want from a quarterback. Michael Penix Jr., same thing. You hear about his work ethic, how he, eats, sleeps, breathes football, and like he really just wants to go out there and go get it. We've seen everybody rave about Caleb and everything he's done since he was, 16 years old at all the camps and everything. So it's definitely going to be an interesting conversation. And I think, like, I didn't want to do this, like I said, but in terms of the Bears, when you have 2 picks, I look at the Houston Texans, what they did this year with CJ Stroud and Will Anderson. Yeah, and so you look at the left tackle for Penn State, you look at Marvin Harrison Jr., you look at a lot of possibilities for them to do some things, So I agree, obviously you want to, everybody's keyed in on Caleb, and rightfully so, just based off everything he's accomplished. But I think in terms of college, you also have to know, everybody's not going to be that hit, immediate hit. And when you put that on somebody and they don't come out and succeed, and how do they respond to that? And so, he's been, he's been catered to in terms of Lincoln Riley building the system around him and always, being there for him. So when he's removed from that, how does he respond? How do we react? So it's something to think about with every quarterback. But I mean, as far as the Bears, you look at the Texans, and I think that should be a blueprint. If you do decide to go away from Justin Fields, you have an opportunity to get a, potentially franchise-changing quarterback as well as another cornerstone at a key position.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. And I think, we need to pump the brakes on the generational talk. I think that's one of the number one words that gets thrown out there. And in every sport, generational talent. Victor Wembanyama, generational. Caleb Williams, generational. You got to look at what are you critiquing that off? What are you basing that off? He played terribly against Notre Dame. He also played great against Colorado. I think when you're scouting these guys, you got to take their best game, throw it away, take their worst game, throw it away. And the truth is somewhere in the middle. I think the Bears are starting to, as Bears fans, we're seeing that with Justin Fields. Yeah, he looked great the last 2 weeks, but those are the outliers. You throw those away and you look at the whole sample size. The eye test never lies. So, the Bears, regardless whether we want them to give up on Justin Fields or not, whether we agree with it, everybody has their own, thinking when it comes to that situation. The Bears are set up in a perfect situation to take a quarterback. This is what Ryan Poles did last year. This is what the extra lottery ticket that he provided himself by trading the number 1 pick to the Carolina Panthers and recouping a number 1 this year. So you just have to watch these guys over the next couple weeks. And I think from here, we're going to start to see, what you like. If you like the Justin Fields type of player with the ability to maneuver in the pocket, it's definitely an incense. We out here vibing over here. Somebody, we vibing over here.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is that?
So if you're looking for somebody with the big playmaking, scramble, can make something out of nothing, then that would be Caleb Williams, who, if we're being real, we got that in Justin Fields. If you're looking for the pure pocket passer, tall, stand in the pocket, allow routes to develop or throw it anticipatory throws, now you're looking at a Drake May and a Michael Penix Jr. And they all have their own warts. But the one thing about Michael Penix Jr. is, he's all about football, like Dante said, but he also, everybody comes with their own baggage. And I got the Kyrie say. everybody comes with their own baggage. Michael Penix Jr. has, I believe, 2 torn ACLs that he recovered from that he had over in Indiana. Yep. So, that's something that you're dealing with. So my attention is moved to Saturdays, and we scouting. Obviously, we know about Marvin Harrison Jr. We know about everything, but we gotta let the rest of the NFL season play out and the NCAA season play out.
Definitely, man. We'll be going over the Bears, see if they can get a couple wins in the second hour, man. So let's move on to NFL Week 7 preview, man. We're gonna switch it up a little bit, compared to what we've done. I feel like, we've been kind of rambling when we do like the fucking picks. So what we're going to do differently going on from here on out is we're going to have the top 5 games we feel like for each week that you guys need to be watching. And we're also going to be hitting y'all with the sneaky good game. Before we get into that, though, we're going to talk about, coming to some of the main topics coming into this, Week 7, man. I want to talk about Mr. Jalen Hurts. Now, I understand that we got people in our chat room who's probably going to go on that bullshit "I hate black quarterbacks" thing that's probably going to come up in the chat in a couple minutes. But I said at the beginning of the season that I want to see more from Jalen Hurts. I thought Jalen Hurts had a great year last year, led his team to the Super Bowl. He played great in that Super Bowl. It was like one of the Super Bowls that you saw where it wasn't the quarterback's fault that they lost. Kind of reminded me when the when the Patriots actually lost to the Eagles in 2017, and Tom Brady had like 5 touchdowns. It's like, well, it wasn't on that nigga. They just couldn't play no goddamn defense. If you look at him now, he's already got more interceptions than he had last year. Only 7 touchdowns. There's not running as much, and I think a lot of it has to do with maybe the offensive coordinator not being there and things like that. But really, what I want to discuss is, do you think this is something to worry about with Jalen Hurts? They took their first loss last week. With this going forward, in the way that the Jets played him, do you feel like this is something that needs to, that should be concerning if you're the Eagles?
Yeah, I mean, no, go ahead. I think so, because last year was Jalen Hurts' breakout year. You know what I'm saying? The year before, we saw growth and leading the Eagles to the playoffs, where they got stomped by the Bucks, and Jalen Hurts looked like he couldn't, he couldn't hit water out of a boat. So last year was the outlier year. So you want to see a follow-up season. I just think it's a natural progression with him, just off the fact that they did lose, their OC. There were moving parts there, and teams adjust. The tape is out there. Everything that they did last year, the tape is out there. But there's definitely a little bit cause for concern, but I think eventually they figure it out. I think they need to incorporate DeAndre Swift a little more into their offense, because he's looking like everything that the Lions thought they had when they drafted him.
Yeah, I think that, like you said, they do need to run the ball a little bit more with him, get that going a little bit more. But the thing that I say, even last year, with as great as he played, and yes, he's a very accurate passer, is just I didn't even really know until I looked at the numbers. I thought he had way more passing touchdowns than what he had. He only had like 22 passing touchdowns last year, and which was something I feel like people are going to key in on now. Defense is going to be like, okay, we're going to make you throw a little bit more. We're going to see if you can do that consistently. And that's something I feel like Jalen can do, because he has a very accurate ball compared to a lot of other quarterbacks. But they need to find a balance, I feel, offensively. And once they get that, I do believe Jalen will be good. But I kind of want to go back to what I think it was Gerald McCoy. Gerald McCoy said on the Rich Eisen show like a week ago. He said, before people are elite quarterbacks, you got to actually do it 3 years in a row. And we're going to talk later in the show about like who exactly are the elite quarterbacks. But I do think like we put maybe too much dip on our chip when it comes to Jalen Hurts is being an elite QB. How is he going to respond for this? Now he actually has a little bit of adversity, and this is something that the Eagles have not dealt with much. How's he gonna come back from this? But I do think that this is not like a big worry. I think he will be fine because the talent is there, and he has a head coach Nick Sirianni who, unlike certain other coaches we know of, actually like their quarterback and will do things to have to make the game easier for Jalen. So I don't feel like it's something that is too concerned, but definitely something I would be paying attention to going forward.
Yeah, you definitely got to pay attention to it. But like you said, it's about seeing him put 2-3 consecutive really good seasons together. And so I think this is another side effect of when we really want to crown somebody too soon. And again, not saying that Jalen can't do it. It's just a player that we've seen get better every single year since we saw him get benched at Alabama. So we know he puts in the work. So it's a matter, like you said, Scott, how does he respond to it? So major concern, no, but it's obviously something you have to look at because, again, he's turning the ball over more. And that's the issue. It's one thing if, despite the fact that they're still winning. So that's the only reason I say you can't really panic. But when you are turning the ball over, like you said, he has 7 interceptions. And I think he had less turnovers overall last year. So slightly, keep an eye on it, but I don't think it's not the time to hit the panic button.
Yeah, it's not panic time. Just let's keep an eye on it. Another quarterback I want to talk about is quarterback I'm a real big fan of, but I just feel like there's something missing with this guy, and I really just can't put my finger on him. I'm talking about Justin Herbert. That game that we saw on Monday Night Football and the way they lost it to the Cowboys isn't something that's like different if you watched any Charger game, really through their entire existence. Even before Justin Herbert was there, they would lose games like that when Phillip Rivers was there. They would even probably, I think they've lost games like that when Drew Brees was there for a little bit. So it's an overall Charger thing. But there's something about Justin Herbert that's missing. Like if you look at Justin Herbert's stats, I mean, he's thrown for 1,300 yards already. He's got 9 touchdowns, only 2 picks. Passer rating of 101.7. On paper, those are great numbers. But there's something missing to him where, like, when the game is coming down to the end, as great as he is, it's like he can't finish. Now, I do believe 60 to 70% of this problem is he has a fucking idiot coaching staff. Brandon Staley should be fired. Kellen Moore is not looking like the guy we thought he was when he was in Dallas. They're just having problems with scoring the football, but it's like they go brain dead towards the end. He starts making passes that don't make sense. Do you think it's like, and I hate using this word because it's a real, a debate show topic, but as far as clutch gene and shit like that, but there's something missing from Justin Herbert. What do y'all think it is when you look at what Justin Herbert does and like just his career so far?
I wouldn't say it's something missing. I think that's taking it like a step too far because, like you said, that goes into that whole clutch gene thing, and especially with football being one of the sports where you really are relying on everybody around you. And like I've said this for years, like quarterback is one of those positions. Although, like you said, and we always say, if you don't have a quarterback, you don't have anything. But they get, sometimes they get too much praise and too much criticism. So I think in Herbert's case, it's just another young quarterback who's growing and going through those pains of learning how to win and learning how to finish. And like I said, everybody isn't, fortunate enough to be able to just off rip start doing that. I know you had guys like, as much as they shit on him, Matt Ryan, who had, hella fourth quarter comebacks just out the gate and throughout his entire career. And that's something you always saw him do. But with Herbert, I think, like I said, it's just a young quarterback going through those growing pains. So I don't think he's missing anything. It's just a matter of, like you said, some of the decision making, especially with the coaching and putting your team and your quarterback in a position to succeed. Sometimes he has to overcome his coaching staff, and that's always going to be an issue. So I think, as time goes forward, he has all the tools to be, an elite quarterback.
Yeah, that's always going to be an issue and a detriment, especially to a young quarterback. I agree with Dante. I don't think there's anything missing. If there's one thing that's missing, I guess it would just be consistency. He's good for 3 to 4 amazing throws a game. And then as we saw on Monday, he's good for 3 overthrows that you're like, what the fuck? Like if you hit those, it tilts the balance of the game in the favor of the Chargers. So he's just a young quarterback growing. I think honestly they need to develop more or invest more into their skill position players. I was never a fan of the Quentin Johnson pick. I thought it should have been Zay Flowers or Jordan Addison. At the very least, they need somebody that can do the opposite of what Keenan Allen does. They need somebody that can get that yak. They need somebody that can get open and break down, and break down the defense, get to the open spot, and be able to make plays. So it's just a growing pains. I believe Brandon Staley will be fired this year. Anything short of them winning a playoff game and advancing, I think he'll be fired just because the heat is on him right now. I believe the proof is in the pudding with a lot of questionable calls. I think he honestly left about 5 to 6 wins, in his tenure there on the field and situations. If he would have made the right decision, that could have put the franchise and that team in different predicaments. So Justin Herbert's fine. He's young. He's going through it. It's just right now this is a league that's starved for great quarterback play, and we're not really getting it. Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, but he hasn't really been Patrick Mahomes this year, So we're really just starved for great quarterback play, especially the GOATs are gone. Brady's gone. Manning is far gone. What's his name? Ayahuasca boy's down with an Achilles. So it's up to the new generation and to the young guard. And while they're figuring it out and learning on the fly, they are going to make mistakes.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. I think also too is like when I don't think we really appreciated how good we had it at the time, like with all those elite quarterbacks at one time. You had the Bradys, you had the Mannings, and even guys who were elite but a little lower than them. Obviously, you had the bathroom bins. We're talking about just strictly on the field, by the way. With how good he was. Phillip Rivers to an extent. You know what I'm saying? Like you had these other guys who around, even like at the beginning of the 2000s when, you still had Steve McNair. Steve McNair was still winning MVPs like in 2003. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think we knew how good we had it. It's kind of like, I feel like something we're going to be seeing in the NBA for real soon where it's like, who's going to be the next guy? Like obviously the NFL has found their guy, which is something that the NBA is still trying to do. It's obviously Patrick Mahomes, but who is going to be this guy's contemporaries outside of like a Justin Herbert? So that's why I want to talk about like who are like, how many like actual elite quarterbacks do you guys think are currently in the NFL? Because for me right now, if we want to be just strictly off elite, like my life is on the line, I'm counting on these two. To me, it's only two guys. It's Patrick Mahomes and it's Joe Burrow. I don't really know if there's anybody else who I would call an elite quarterback right now.
No, I can definitely agree with that, bro. And it's kind of like the term superstar in the NBA. Like it gets thrown around so much, and the reality is it takes a lot to be elite. So, in terms of just having that it factor, he's been banged up. So I can't say Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers, was elite when he was active and playing. But I would agree right now it's Joe, it's Pat. And, as much as he, turns the ball over, which he needs to get a hold of, I still think Josh Allen is teetering on that elite category. I think he has the potential, has the skill. It's a matter of, just actual execution. So, I mean, I think those two really are the cream of the crop in terms of elite quarterbacks.
It's Tua.
Oh, okay.
It's Tua.
You putting Tua Uso in there already.
Nah, I'm fucking with y'all.
Okay.
Nah, I'm fucking with y'all. This Casamigos hit it right now. No, it's really Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes, and like Dante said, Josh Allen. Any given day, they're capable of putting special throws on the field and carrying their team. Those are guys that have proven you can win because of them. Not, that it's kind of the argument that we're going through with Justin Fields as we watch a lot of these young quarterbacks. Everybody else needs everything to be right. We've seen Joe Burrow come in with one of the worst offensive lines in modern day history. He got sacked a ridiculous number of times, and they made it to a Super Bowl. So it's Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen, and then you have, you got to flip a coin.
I mean, I think, and to me, that's the fucked up part of it. We actually got to think, but okay, maybe so and so can do this. Why do y'all think like? Because this shit a quarterback play, not just from elites, but just like in general, it's just bad. And first, I thought it was lack of preseason reps and things like that, but we're basically 2 months into the damn season. Like, I want to know, like, what the fuck do you think is, like, going on? I think, like, part of it, if you look at the Thursday night football game last night, I really think these offensive coordinators are too much in their head. Like, I feel like they're doing a lot of things that take their guys out of a rhythm, and it doesn't make sense from like a play calling aspect. That's got to be part of it. But what do you guys think is the main reason why quarterback play across the league is just so bad in general?
I'm gonna be honest, G. I think it's really simple. Like DBs have gotten better, bro. DBs have adjusted to the rules, and now you got motherfuckers like Sauce Gardner who are, the size of small forwards. Scott has hijacked the controls, ladies and gentlemen.
We keep pressing the button the same damn thing. Look, man. There you go. Go ahead.
There we go, my God. Yeah. But no, you got people like Sauce Gardner. Like I said, he's 6'3", 6'4", whatever. Just tall, lanky cornerbacks out there who can cover these guys and really, make it difficult for these offenses. And to Scott's point, which I agree with, you have so many coordinators who now feel like they have to be the evil genius who's, scheming guys open. And then the reality is everybody's not Kyle Shanahan. Everybody's not, capable of that. And so it's a copycat league. And now you see time after time, you see all of these coordinators who, just swear up and down that they're the smartest person in the room. And the defenses have adjusted. You see, the athleticism on the defensive side of the ball is crazy these days, the size and the speed, and it's caught up with everything we've seen on offense. So I think it's one of those things where it's not necessarily just that the quarterbacks are bad, but we really got to start giving credit to the defensive players because they putting in the work, and we've seen schemes adjust.
No, I agree 100%. The defenders have gotten better. You look at it, the majority of the first round DBs that get taken, they start from day one and they make an impact from day one. You look at Devin Witherspoon, you look at Sauce Gardner, you look at my man down in Houston on the Texans, Stingley. You look at Surtain over in for the Broncos. They get on the field and they start ASAP. But also, we're in the era of the young QB. This is the youngest the average starting age of a QB has been in the last 60 years. So we're dealing with young guys that are getting out there. Just look at this year. Anthony Richardson, before the injury, he was thrown out there to start. Bryce Young has started from day one. CJ Stroud is starting from day one. A lot of these teams have foregone the experiment of, sit down, learn for a year, learn behind a solid vet. There aren't really many solid vets. If you have a solid vet right now, you're not moving off of them. So they're throwing these young boys into the fire, and that obviously has to contribute to the quarterback play that we're seeing and why it's hit or miss on any given day. Yesterday Trevor Lawrence didn't do too much, but he looked great. Like, to me, he looked poised for a third year QB playing with the injury. Like, he didn't do too much, but then give or take the next week we see him, he's liable to throw 3 picks. So it's just the ebbs and flows and what we have to deal with as viewers, and then what the league is dealing with as when you're employing such young QBs that are starting from day one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good take. I didn't think about. It's kind of like in the NBA too, where all the influx of young talent over there. And we had this conversation like on an old episode of Ball Don't Lie, Dante. We were talking about lack of role players in the NBA. Like, we used to know the role players, used to know the Dale Davises, the deadlift shrimps,
the Aaron McKees,
the East Snows. Like, you don't really have those guys in the NBA anymore. So I kind of feel like it's like that too, where it's like there's too many. We don't even know who the really good quarterbacks are right now. And I do think that's a problem, but maybe it's something it will get better because these guys are so young, man. So let's move on to another young quarterback, somebody who's drafted pretty high 2 years ago, Mr. Zach Wilson and the New York Jets. They got a big-time win last Sunday against the Philadelphia Eagles, man. This defense is looking as great as it was advertised coming into the season. And Zach Wilson, the last couple games, I mean, he hasn't been great, but he's been doing enough to help them win games, man. So my question to y'all is, do y'all think that this model of winning, which is a real old school Chicago Bears way model winning, where your defense dominates, great running game, and your quarterback just don't lose the game, do you think this can get them a playoff berth in the AFC, or this is just some shit to make it entertaining while Rodgers actually heals up?
I think it's fun to watch, but anytime you mention the Chicago Bears and blueprint, I don't think that's. I think that defense is
disgust when you said that.
I just can't do it no more. But no, that defense is great. You got a lot of all pros on that side of the ball, and I think with the weapons they have on offense, and to his credit, Aaron Rodgers has still stuck around. He's still been working with Zach, and we've seen Zach, like you said, he isn't, lighting anything up, but he's not losing them the game. And so I think, they'll stick around. They'll be that team on the side, the in the hunt. They'll be that. But as far as, actually making the playoffs, I don't think they'll make the playoffs.
I mean, we know defense travels, and looking at their schedule, they have some games where they will be putting out the better product and on the defensive side where their defense could take over a game. They have the Giants next weekend. They face the Chargers and they got the Raiders. So they got the Giants and the Raiders is very winnable. Whether as long as Zach Wilson doesn't turn the ball over, they could lean on Breece Hall and their defense. They can win some games. You got games still down the road with the Falcons at home. You have a young CJ Stroud on the road in New York in December. You have Sam Howell, the Browns, the Patriots. So this is looking like a team that is very Chicago Bears-esque, where their defense might carry them. They're looking at maybe 8 to 9 wins as long as their defense remains at the elite level it is. But once they come to the playoffs and it's time to make throws, they'll fall short, and they'll say that it was a growing experience, a learning experience for Zach Wilson, and they're going to bank on Aaron Rodgers next year. But we grew up with it our whole entire lives. We know that there's only so much an elite defense can take you when your biggest liability is at the quarterback position. So I think they're going to be a frisky team where they will, like I said, they'll be able to pull off wins like they did last week against the Eagles, just off of confusing good QBs. Good QBs can be confused, from a week to week basis. And that's what they showed in Jalen Hurts. He had his highest turnover game in a while with 3 picks. I don't believe he had 3 picks in a single game all of last season. So as long as they stay healthy, their defense will keep them in it. But as far as actually winning anything of note come January, I don't see it.
Yeah, man, I gotta agree with y'all, man. First, I want to apologize if any of the listeners or watchers, viewers hear a sound in the background. It's my punk ass neighbor decide he wants to fucking mow the lawn at 4:00 in the fucking afternoon when niggas is doing shit. So I closed the window. So I hope y'all don't hear it, but it is what it fucking is. But I would say I'm with y'all. I think that kind of method don't work in today's NFL. I think it's enough to keep them competitive. If you're a playoff team, and you're like one of those teams that's on the edge, maybe you're a favorite and you're trying to get home field advantage, this is not a team you want to play, obviously. I think this does give a lot of flowers to Robert Salah and that full coaching staff over there. They're able to stay competitive even without their best player. But the AFC is just too stacked. I know it's been real middle of the road so far in this season, but there's a lot of teams I feel like that are going to get those 7 playoff spots. Of course, obviously we know the obvious teams and like the Chiefs and things like that. But even look at like the AFC North. I feel like that's a team that could get a couple playoff teams in there. Like whether it's the Bengals, every team in there, I feel like might have a decent shot, even with as mediocre as Kenny Pickett is. You can't really turn your nose up at a Mike Tomlin coach team. They might be in that hunt right there to get the 7th seed in the AFC. So I just feel like there's way too many teams that have better rosters and better quarterbacks than Zach Wilson that will get that spot. But they're definitely going to make it interesting. If you're a Jets fan, I know that's fucked up that you ain't got Aaron right now, but that's really all that you could ask for, man. So that's why I got to say about that Jet team. One last thing before we go on to the games that you should watch this weekend. Kyler Murray. We all thought that the Cardinals would be in full tank mode. I know before the Bears season just fell off the fucking wheels. I think we all thought that, they're going to easily get the number 1 draft pick. But they've already won a game. They've been competitive in pretty much every game they played. Now they got the news that Kyler Murray has come off the PUP list. He actually practiced this week. He will not be playing this week, but he said that the coaches and the staff are saying that he could be back as early as next Sunday, week 8. What do y'all think about Kyler Murray? You think is this a team that now they're like, we're not going to get this number 1 draft pick. Let's at least try to win some games now.
I don't think it's about necessarily winning games, but it's definitely about allowing Kyler to get back into a rhythm and get back in the groove. Like you said, like we've seen all season, they've been a competitive team despite the losses. They've fought, and so now with a guy like Kyler, and you can say, what's your chances dwindling with both the Panthers being terrible and now the Bears don't look like they're gonna be ever that good. You evaluate and see what you got. Like my bro just said, you see where he's at and whether you do need to make a move because they're not gonna be that good. They're not gonna win that many games. So like you said, like we've been saying, there are still 3 quarterbacks that will be available. So as you see what you have with Kyler, you may want to go, toward that Drake Maye Michael Penix route. So I think, like you said, it's about evaluating and seeing where he is and letting him get into that rhythm because we've seen what Kyler was and he had his flaws, but he was still a talent. And so, as much as we talk about trading people and just starting over, restarting that clock, that's still a lot of money to move. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do. So like you said, it's about, like I said, it's about really just evaluating where Kyler is and what you can do with him going forward.
100%. It's about evaluating him, especially off the injury. And this is a brand new coaching staff. This is a coaching staff that hasn't been able to coach Kyler Murray on the field. So you have to see what you got. Obviously, Kyler Murray is a former first-round pick. Kyler Murray signed a big extension. We know that he has big play capability. He just leaves a lot to be desired, and he hasn't taken that next step that everybody thought he would at this point in his career. So I think Dante brings up a great point too, as Corey Seager rips a double down the line. I think Dante brings up a great point too, is that they have 2 first-round picks. They have their own, and they have that the Houston Texans first-round pick. So they don't necessarily they can be, say Kyler Murray is not it, and say they make an offer that the Bears can't refuse, and they move both of those to get the number 1 pick. That's a possibility. Maybe they like a Michael Penix Jr. over Kyler Murray. Maybe a team values a JJ McCarthy or a Bo Nix more. So there are a few interesting QB prospects. I think it's just all about evaluation. It's all about getting him healthy and seeing how he fits in this new culture. The same way we say that this isn't Ryan Pohl's guy when we talk about Justin Fields. This isn't. I believe it's I know his name. Is it Jonathan Gannon? This isn't Jonathan Gannon's guy. Jonathan Gannon took the job, but he took the job knowing that Kyler Murray would more than likely possibly be out for the majority of the year. So we'll see. Obviously, I'm a fan of Kyler Murray. I think he has his limitations, but I really am a fan of him. So I can't wait to see him get on the field. And I think with him on the field, they will win some more games. So that will only help the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I agree with both of y'all saying. I do think it's evaluation. Like our man Alex said in the chat, I think it's evaluation. To get Kyler's feet wet again, get him back playing football, and I think Kyler Murray is a much better quarterback than people give him credit for. Man, I think we don't like the theatrics that come with Kyler. I mean, he came into the league, kind of in like a diva type way, and I wouldn't even say it's wrong because we forget he's a multi-sport athlete. There was a conversation of whether he was going to go to the Oakland A's. Like there was a legit conversation before he got drafted. So there was a reason why he was like, I guess, like as picky as he has been. But this is a guy. He's a good quarterback. He's a good quarterback. I'm not gonna put nothing against him because he was paired up with a dickhead head coach and Cliff Kingsbury, which had never been hired to fuck begin with. But I do think, I forgot about the draft picks, like you said, Mikey. This puts them in a good position where they're like, we can still out there win games. If we do decide to trade a Kyler Murray or trade these picks, we can at least boost Kyler Murray's trade value in the meantime if he can go out there and play good football, man. So if anything, I think this is just, like you said, evaluation going forward. So
I got a funny Kyler Murray story too, and also Adolis Garcia just sent fucking Justin Verlander shit to Midland, so it is now 4-2 4-2 Rangers. But I did a shout out to my man Kevin Murray. That's Kyler Murray's pops. I helped him out when I was working at Nike during the Super Bowl when the Chiefs played the Niners down here, and I was taking care of him the whole weekend. And funny guy, man. It's funny the outside perspective of people that are not from Chicago and that are not diehard Bears fans, because I told him I was a Bears fan, and the first thing he said is, man, them motherfuckers are racist. This was obviously before we had Justin Fields. But he's like, man, them motherfuckers are racist. They will never have a black quarterback. They will never succeed with a quarterback. Obviously, we take Justin Fields, the year later, but I just find it funny the perspective of outside people have. And, this is the father of somebody who, went number 1 overall as a quarterback. So shout out to my man Kevin Murray. He's a crazy motherfucker, but I can see where Kyler Murray gets his confidence from.
Shout out to Kyla's pops. Also, shout out to Courtney in the chat who was using her PTO today. She said that she just screamed in the store after that Adolis Garcia 3-run home run. Man, we will have Russ Dorsey in the second hour. We'll be talking about both championship series. Man, let's get into one of the most popular segments on this show that all y'all have been in tune with. Man, that is Mikey's weekly parlay. We eventually gonna get you some theme music, my guy.
I was just about to start humming some shit.
Yeah.
Last week, right? Last week was ass, so I don't need no theme music, man. But hopefully we could get right this week. I like a couple games this week. I think we have some good get right spots. So for this week, for the I'm not gonna hold you parlay, we're gonna run with a 4-team parlay. 2 of them are gonna be money line. So we're gonna take the Seattle Seahawks to beat Kyler Murray's Arizona Cardinals. We're going to take the Philadelphia Eagles to bounce back on Sunday Night Football and beat the Miami Dolphins. And we're going to take an alternate spread. So we're going to take the Bills, who are currently favored, I believe, by 7.5 over the New England Patriots. We're going to take them minus 6.5. And the last leg will be on Monday Night Football. We're going to take the San Francisco 49ers to get right against Kirk Cousins' Minnesota Vikings. So we'll take an alternate spread on that as well, minus 6.5. So that's Seahawks money line, Eagles money line, Bills minus 6.5, Niners minus 6.5. That's plus 552. 100 to get you 552. I also love, it's my game of the week. I love the Sunday night matchup of the Philadelphia Eagles and the Miami Dolphins. And we have 2 player prop bets for that game. I love AJ Brown over 5.5 receptions. He's cleared this in 5 of the 6 games that he's played so far this season. The Dolphins have given up 6 or more receptions to opposing number 1 wide receivers throughout the season. So 6 out of 6 games that they've played. And then I love on the other side of it, if we're gonna get a little AJ Brown action, I gotta mix in the cheetah. Tyreek Hill over 6.5 receptions. He's cleared this line in 4 out of 6 games. He's on pace for a monster season. The Eagles defense has given up 7 or more receptions to opposing number 1 wide receivers this season. So I love those 2 plays. So let's try to get some money this week, and maybe next week I'll be on a jet ski or some shit.
Maybe next week you'll be on the Jets. We know every week it's a different thing. You know, you're gonna be high, you're gonna be up. That's why I don't gamble. But we're gonna get into the last segment of our first hour, man. We're gonna talk about, instead of going over the full NFL schedule, we're gonna put our I'm not gonna hold you top 5 games to watch. These are the 5 games we think are the most entertaining, and then we also have 4 games we think are the most entertaining, and 1 is a sneaky good game. So I'm gonna start with my sneaky good game of the week. I think that is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Atlanta Falcons. This is a NFC South division matchup. Just off that, it's gonna be entertaining. Baker Mayfield has actually played a lot better than I expected. That Buccaneers team I thought was gonna be straight up ass. Now they're not good. I'm not sitting up here acting like this is a good football team, but they hang around. They're able to make games a fight. That defense has been doing a little thing, and Baker Mayfield has actually been playing pretty decently, man. So you take that up against the Atlanta Falcons team, who, you know, of course, their quarterback, Desmond Ridder, is hit or miss. They're coming off 2 losses in a row, but they've got a really good defense. They've got a good tight end in Cal Pitts. You've got Bijan Robinson. He's been bodying. So I feel like this on top of everything is going to be very competitive, because if you're the Atlanta Falcons, you don't want to lose 3 in a row. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you're Tampa, you want to stay in this race as well. So I feel like this one is probably like my sneaky good game of the week. What do y'all think about this game?
Yeah, no, I agree, bro. And I think, Arthur Smith has really been trying to, air it out more with Desmond Ridder. I think he threw the ball 47 times last week. And my thing is, I feel you on that, but at the same time, you drafted Bijan for a reason. And, you've been known for running the ball. You still got Tyler Algier, who's one of the best, second backs in the game. He was a 1,000-yard rusher last season. So, I mean, you have, the capabilities to run the ball, but lately he's really been trying to force the issue with Desmond Ridder. I don't know if that's just more so trying to speed up the process and seeing, all right, let's see what we got with this dude, or just more matchup based. But I think with Bijan, they lost the game last week. Bro was spread out wide running a fucking slant. No, bro. So I think it's gonna be a good game. Like you said, the Falcons, like I said, I really like their defense. I like the secondary a lot. And Baker has played well. So I think it's gonna be a good game. And the NFC South, quietly, that division has been entertaining for the past, damn near decade. Like, they may not have, the best records in the league, but they do beat up on each other similar in a similar fashion to the NFC East. But yeah, I think that's gonna be a good game, and I probably I got the Bucks winning that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bucks on that one too.
Yeah, I'm loving the Bucks in that game too. I believe I agree with Dante. The Atlanta Falcons have a sneaky good secondary. I know, like you said, I believe they got Jesse Bates, they got AJ Terrell. But you're going up against Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. There's plenty of room for those wide receivers as long as Baker Mayfield could get them the ball to make plays. So a sneaky good game. I'm gonna ride with the Tampa Bay Bucks in that one.
Another game, a number 2 games to pay attention to this week, man. We got a big matchup, man. We got the 5-1 Detroit Lions. I can't believe I just said that. The 5-1 Detroit Lions taking on Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. That's going to be a good matchup because I just feel like how great this offense not just the offense. The Detroit Lions been great, period. Like, I think it's to the point where we got to stop talking about, oh, they're NFC North contenders. No, these niggas is NFC contenders, bro. They're playing the way they're playing. They believe everything that Dan Campbell is preaching. That defense has been lights out. Aiden Hutchinson looks generational. The running game has been good. Dave Montgomery is out for this game. So that means the rookie is Gibbs hurt or is he still playing? I don't know if is he on injured too.
I know Jahmyr Gibbs will be full go.
Okay, Jahmyr Gibbs will be full go, so they can play the youngin a little bit more. And just the way that they've been moving with their wide receivers, Jameson Williams got his first touchdown last week. You see what the right St. Brown has been doing. This team is a legit contender, but they're going to be going up against this Ravens team that's got a really, really good defense. Now, offensively, they're still shaky. I think that Lamar's going to have a tough time against this defense, especially that pass rush. But this is not a game that I feel like Detroit's going to be able to do whatever they want to do on offense. But I am going to take the Lions in a very, very close game. They're going to move to 6-1.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going with the Lions as well, and I think this is one team that you talk about blueprints. This is who the Chicago Bears should be looking at, bro. Yeah. Like, they built this team from the trenches out as opposed to the opposite. And so, for years we talked about, this preseason, hyping up the secondary and what we expected to see from them and all of that. But the reality is, though, the game is won in the trenches, and Detroit is very, very, very well equipped on both sides of the ball. So I agree, but I think this is a game where they're going to get really physical with the Ravens. I know the Ravens have a really nice offense, but bro, I'm gonna rock with Detroit, and I'm gonna go Lions by 10. I think they're gonna really, again, I'm with you. I think this is a team that's not only an NFC contender, but they're a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, and Zay Jones is out too for Baltimore, so that's a big loss for them.
Yeah, I'm actually riding with the home team. I'm riding with the Baltimore Ravens. I think this is obviously a good measuring point for them, but the Lions are coming in, and the Ravens are gonna, it's a style. The styles are gonna match. I think the Ravens are gonna commit to trying to run the ball and getting Lamar out the pocket, obviously with Aiden Hutchinson running after him. But I believe the weakest part of the Lions team is their secondary. I still believe they should have taken Devon Witherspoon or Christian Gonzalez over Jahmyr Gibbs this year. So I think there is room for Lamar to exploit their secondary. I look for a big game from Zay Flowers and from Mark Andrews over the middle. So I'm going to ride with the Ravens and what's going to essentially come down to a Jared Goff pick.
I mean, we haven't had a Jared Goff pick in a minute, so that would definitely be throwback. Jared Goff is rewriting his whole legacy right now, man, and that's something where this might end up being a trade that works for both sides between them and the Lions and the Rams, man. So that's going to be interesting to see play out. My third must-watch game this week is a AFC West matchup between the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs taking on a team we just talked about earlier, I was about to call San Diego, the Los Angeles Chargers, Justin Herbert. Every time these two teams link up ever since Herbert has come into the league, it's been very entertaining games. Both games last year were entertaining, and I don't think this one's going to be any different. I think this is going to be a game where I have still not been impressed with either of these offenses, especially the Chiefs. We know how Matt Nagy gets down. I think it's going to be a much low-scoring game than we've seen before in prior Chiefs-Chargers matchups. And I'm actually going to take the Chargers. I think the Chargers will win a very, very close matchup. by field goal, something that, usually when you look at these two teams, is mainly like more of a 38-34 type matchup. I'm going to go 24-17 Chargers over the Chiefs this week.
I'm gonna go Chiefs. I'm sorry. I'm definitely gonna go Chiefs. I agree. They have definitely been inconsistent so far to start out the season, despite the record. But I think this is one of those games where they can't get right. The Chargers are the Chargers at this point with their coaching staff, with their coaching, the way that they play. So I think they're gonna go out there. I think Pat's gonna have a really good game. And I'll go 24-14 Chiefs.
Yeah, if you were asking me to pick a spread, I would take the Chargers and the points. I believe they're 5.5 point underdogs, but I still like the Chiefs to win. I believe this game is at Arrowhead, and this is the perfect opportunity for Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is listening to us. He's hearing everybody say how Reggie they look throughout, outside of demolishing the Bears, they haven't really looked like the Chiefs that we've come accustomed to with him under center. Like you said, Scott, every time they link up, it's a great game. I'm going to take the Chiefs in a close game. I'm looking at a Harrison Butker field goal. I'm probably looking at 27-24.
Yeah, that's definitely gonna be competitive, man. My game of the week, my number one game of the week, is our tribal chief Tua Uso, and the Miami Dolphins will be traveling to Philadelphia to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. Two former teammates, man, Jalen Hurts and Tua. That's gonna be an interesting little note there. We're gonna just pretend like they're the only ones, not bum ass Mac Jones. This is gonna be a good game because I feel like the defense for the Philadelphia Eagles can cause problems for the Dolphins. They will have their full complement of players back. Everybody's healthy, ready to go. Darius Slay, Carter, everybody will be playing this week. So, but also this is a game where Jalen Hurts, like we said earlier, he's going to have to put up points because this is exactly what this Miami Dolphins offense does. In order to beat them, you're going to have to slow the game down. You're going to have to do what that Buffalo Bills defense did early in the season, which they are much capable of doing. And this, as great as the Dolphins offense is, their defense has a lot that could be leaves a lot more to be desired. And I definitely think there'll be plays out to be made. I don't trust this Eagles offense currently to hang in with what the Dolphins can do. I think Tyreek Hill is going to have an amazing game. I think he really has a really good shot. To really step up and make plays. So I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins in this one.
You on mute,
brother.
Where this game at?
This in Philly. It's in Philly, Sunday night.
Sunday night in Philadelphia. I'm going Eagles. I like everything I've seen with Tua and the Dolphins, and like you said, this is an opportunity for them to make a statement. But I think Philly does get it done at home. That defense, that defensive front, really puts on. I don't want to say put on a show, but they're gonna really do their thing at home. And so I'm gonna go. I don't think it's gonna be high. I don't think it's gonna be too high scoring. I know it's tough saying that with Miami and the way they put up points. I go 27. Shit, that is high scoring. 27-21 Eagles.
Yeah, I think this has the potential to be a shootout. I know Jalen Carter is back. Lane Johnson is back. So hold on, G. Oh wow, he just robbed Altuve of a double. That would have won me some bread. Now I gotta eat Tostitos for dinner. But we watching it live. You're watching me lose money live. This is the type of experience we're bringing you here at the Barber's Chat Network. But yeah, I love this game. Like I said, this is the game of the week for me. I think Philly gets right. That Dolphins defense can be got. So I think there's plays for Jalen Hurts to make in the passing game with those wide receivers. Like I said, the Dolphins wide receivers have been allowing number one wide receivers to get off. And thankfully, for the Philadelphia Eagles, they almost have two number one wide receivers with Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown. And then you mix in a little Dallas Goedert, DeAndre Swift in the passing game. I like the Eagles in this one, 31-27.
All right, man. We go to our last must-watch game of the week before we move on to our local hour, man. It is a Monday Night Football game between the Minnesota Vikings and the San Francisco 49ers. Deebo Samuel and Chris McCaffrey did not practice this week, but are considered day-to-day, so they will be a game-time decision on Sunday. I think it's going to be a real interesting game because of I feel like the what's called the Vikings can still put up points, but I do think this is going to be a game that the defenses, we're going to see the difference between the defenses in this game. And I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers. That's if Debo and Christian McCaffrey play, I'll have them by 10. If one or both sit, this might be a much closer game than it needs to be, but I'm going to go Niners regardless.
Yeah, like you said, another team with a really great defense, and they do have some injuries on offense that we got to really keep an eye on. But I'm gonna go Niners. I'm gonna go Niners by 10 either way. I think it's gonna be Niners by 10.
Yeah, I don't see this game being close at all. We just watched the Chicago Bears defense. The Chicago Bears defense held the Minnesota Vikings in check. But take away what was the final score of that game? 19-16.
19-16, something like that,
19-16. So what did the Vikings offense score? 13 points, 12 points. They didn't really do nothing there. Now you got the San Francisco 49ers coming off a loss on Monday Night Football. Regardless, they have more than enough to run it up on the Vikings. Justin Jefferson is out. Them boys are going to come ready to play. They're going to make a statement on national TV. I got the Niners. I got the Niners by double digits.
Definitely, man. That's going to conclude our first hour coverage, man, here on I'm Not Gonna Hold You.